There is a book so rare, most people will live their entire lives without ever hearing its name, not because it was hidden, but because the world was never ready for what it reveals. This book whispers a truth that feels almost impossible at first. Your mind is not fixed. It is programmable. Your identity is not permanent. It is editable. Your reality is not solid. It is rewired from within. For centuries, this manuscript circulated quietly among philosophers, mystics, and scientists who understood one thing long before modern neuroscience proved it. The brain obeys whatever you repeat, not what is true, not what is logical, what you rehearse. And tonight, as you listen, you will begin to hear the same forgotten language this book once taught. The language of the mind, before it was conditioned. The language of thought as energy, emotion as electricity, identity as a pattern that can be rewritten. You will learn why the same emotions keep returning, why your body remembers what your mind tries to forget, why your future keeps looking like your past, and how a single conscious thought can bend the direction of your entire life, not through force, not through discipline, but through alignment, the secret architecture of every transformation. So breathe slowly, let your shoulders soften, let the noise of the day fade like a distant echo, because what you're about to hear isn't motivation, it isn't theory. It is a map, a way back into the deeper intelligence inside you, where thoughts become commands, feelings become frequencies, and your life begins to rearrange itself, to match who you decide to become. Welcome to the forgotten manuscript that shows you how to rewire your mind. The mind is not cruel. It is not chaotic. It is not mysterious. It is obedient, more obedient than you've ever realized. Every morning, before the world even has a chance to touch you, your brain is already listening. The moment you wake, before you move a muscle, before you open your eyes, before you take your first breath, your mind asks a single silent question. What are we today? And whatever you answer, through thought, through emotion, through memory, becomes the blueprint your brain follows for the next 24 hours. Most people never notice this. They think their emotions just happen. They believe worry, fear, stress, fatigue, and doubt arrive out of nowhere. But nothing in the mind arrives without a command. The problem is simple. The commands are unconscious, automatic, rehearsed so many times that they fire before you even recognize them. You wake up and think, "I'm tired." The mind obeys. Chemistry of fatigue floods the body. You think, "Things never work out for me." The mind obeys. Perception narrows toward threats and obstacles. You think, "I can't change." The mind obeys. It preserves the past by recycling it into the future. The brain's loyalty is absolute. It does not argue. It does not hesitate. It does not negotiate. It follows the most repeated instruction, whether it benefits you or destroys you. This is the first secret the rare manuscript revealed. Your brain is not a judge. Your brain is not a philosopher. Your brain is not a guardian of truth. Your brain is a machine. Beautiful, powerful, electric, but still a machine. And machines follow programming. What most people call personality is simply a pattern the brain has memorized. What they call emotion is chemistry repeated so many times the body treats it as home. What they call fate is just neural circuitry rehearsed for years. The brain prefers the familiar over the beneficial. It chooses repetition over evolution. It follows yesterday even when yesterday hurts. That is why a person can feel tired after doing nothing. Why someone can feel anxious in a perfectly safe room. Why stress can appear out of silence. The brain is not responding to the present. It is replaying the past. Neurons fire in loops. Loops become habits. Habits become identity. You are not stuck because you are weak. You are stuck because you have been rehearsing the same inner world for so long that your brain believes it is the only reality possible. But this is where the rare book reveals something extraordinary. Something the modern world is only beginning to understand. Anything that is programmed can be reprogrammed. Your brain does not cling to old patterns because it loves them. It clings to them because they are familiar. Show it something new enough times, and it will obey that instead. This is how rewiring begins. Not with effort, not with force, not with discipline, but with new instructions repeated consciously. Thought is the electrical command. Emotion is the magnetic charge. Together, they tell the brain, build this, strengthen this, prioritize this. The manuscript described the brain like a faithful servant, unquestioning, loyal, steady. And for centuries, mystics, healers, monks, and philosophers understood this long before neuroscience confirmed it. You do not change your life by changing your circumstances. You change your life by changing the instructions your brain receives each day. Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow, and instead of telling your mind, I'm overwhelmed, you give it a new directive. Today, I move slowly. Today, I breathe deeply. Today, I think clearly. The brain obeys. It slows the heart. It relaxes the muscles. It widens perception. It opens the nervous system like a window letting in fresh air. You do this not once, but repeatedly, morning after morning, breath after breath. And soon, something begins to shift inside you. Your mind stops reacting from memory. Your body stops anticipating danger. Your thoughts stop racing toward what hurts. Your nervous system stops sounding alarms that no longer make sense. Eventually, the familiar pattern that once ruled you loses its grip. The brain stops obeying the old instructions because the new ones are stronger. This is the moment rewiring becomes real. When your thoughts no longer echo the past, but begin shaping the future. The manuscript calls this the first awakening, the realization that you are not the thoughts you think. You are the one giving them orders. If your thoughts are commands, and your brain is the machine that obeys, the question of your life becomes simple. What orders have you been giving without realizing it? And what new orders will you choose from this moment forward? Because the mind will obey either way. The only question is who is speaking, the old self or the new one. And now that you are aware of this obedience, now that you see your thoughts as electrical instructions and your emotions as magnetic signals, you are ready for the next layer of the manuscript. A question almost too simple, yet powerful enough to change the architecture of your entire inner world. What happens when the same thought repeats itself for years? What does the mind become when memory becomes identity? There is a moment in every person's life when they begin to sense it. A strange, invisible pattern repeating itself. Thoughts you didn't choose, emotions you didn't want, reactions you didn't mean to give. It feels as if your life is moving in circles, quietly recycling the same inner world again and again. This is not coincidence. It is not personality. It is the loop. The second secret revealed by the rare manuscript. The loop is the cycle of memory the brain keeps replaying, long after the original experience has ended. It is the echo of your past, pretending to be your present. Most people live inside this loop for years without realizing it. They wake up with yesterday's emotions. They speak with last month's tone. They make decisions with last year's fear. And yet, they wonder why life keeps repeating. The answer is simple. The body has memorized what the mind no longer remembers. You can forget the argument, but your chest remembers the tightening. You can forget the disappointment, but your stomach remembers the sinking. You can forget the betrayal, but your nervous system remembers the threat. Memory lives in more than the brain. It lives in the muscles, the breath, the heartbeat, the chemistry. This is why someone can feel anxious even when nothing is wrong. It's why a single phrase spoken in the present moment can trigger a decade-old emotion. It's why a familiar tone, a familiar smell, a familiar posture can drag a person back into a version of themselves they thought they had outgrown. The loop does not care about timelines. It cares about repetition. Every emotion you feel sends chemistry through your body. Every chemistry repeated turns into a habit. Every habit becomes a program. Every program becomes identity. Your body learns your emotional patterns the way a musician learns a song, through rhythm, through repetition, through muscle memory. This is why change feels hard. You are not fighting your mind. You are fighting the emotional habits of your body. And the body is powerful. It can replay old fear without permission. It can summon old pain without logic. It can trigger panic even in safety. Not because it is broken, but because it is loyal. The body prefers familiar suffering over unfamiliar peace. It confuses predictability with safety. It protects you from ghosts long after the ghosts are gone. This is the loop, a cycle of emotional déjà vu, where new days feel like old ones, and fresh moments feel like memories. But here is where the manuscript shifts from diagnosis to liberation. Anything learned can be unlearned. Anything practiced can be overwritten. Any loop can be broken. The brain fires thoughts. The body feels emotions. Those emotions feed back into thoughts. Thoughts feed back into feelings. The loop closes itself. But loops are not cages. They are circuits. And circuits can be rewired. How? Not by force. Not by suppressing emotion. Not by pretending everything is fine. But by interruption. A conscious break in the cycle. A single breath held longer than usual. A silence where you once reacted. A new sentence replacing an old one. Small actions. Microscopic actions. Yet powerful enough to cut into the loop like a beam of light. Because the loop survives on unconsciousness. It cannot survive attention. The manuscript taught this in one simple line. You dissolve a pattern by becoming aware of it faster than it can repeat. What does this mean? It means noticing the first second of anxiety, not the 5th minute. It means catching the beginning of the old thought, not the entire spiral. It means recognizing the emotion in your chest before it commands your day. Awareness is the break. Awareness is the interruption. Awareness is the first blow that weakens the loop's foundation. At first, this awareness is subtle. A twinge in the stomach, a tightness in the throat, a shift in breathing. You feel it. You pause. You do nothing except notice. And something extraordinary begins to happen. The loop loses energy. Without unconscious participation, the circuit cannot complete itself. A reaction that once felt automatic now slows, loses momentum, fades. The manuscript described it like this: every time you choose presence over repetition, you steal power from the past. And the past does not return without fuel. With each interruption, the loop weakens. A new path begins to form, first as a faint trail, then as a walkway, then as a road. Neurons that once fired together stop firing together. Chemistry that once surged automatically begins to settle. Emotional addiction fades. New patterns replace old ones. This is not a dramatic process. It is slow, quiet, almost invisible, but it is real. You begin waking up differently, breathing differently, thinking differently, responding differently, not because life changed, but because the loop no longer controls your inner world. This is the second awakening, the realization that the emotional patterns of the past are not destiny, not personality, not fate, but learned loops. And if they were learned, they can be unlearned. If they were created, they can be rewritten. If they repeated, they can be replaced. With this understanding, you are ready to go deeper, beyond the loop itself, into the nature of the forces that hold it in place. Because if thoughts drive the loop and emotions fuel it, what exactly are thoughts? What exactly are emotions? What is the energy behind them? For that answer, we enter the next chapter, where the manuscript reveals the true electrical nature of the self. You are an electrical being long before you are a thinking being. Most people never realize this. They believe their life is shaped by logic, memory, or personality. But beneath every habit, every reaction, every identity, there is electricity. Your thoughts are not just thoughts. They are electrical pulses, tiny flashes of voltage traveling through a vast neural universe inside your skull, lighting up networks that tell your body who you are. And your emotions, they are not just feelings. They are magnetic fields, expanding from your chest like invisible waves, tuning your entire energy system to a specific frequency. When electricity, thought, and magnetism, emotion, combine, they form your electromagnetic signature, a broadcast your entire reality responds to. This is the secret the rare manuscript insists on. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you electrically are. Let's explore this. 1. Thoughts equal electrical charge. Every thought you think sends a pulse through your nervous system. The brain fires. A spark leaps between neurons. A chemical signal follows. And that spark, that moment of electricity, is the beginning of creation. When you think fear, your brain produces a chaotic electrical pattern. When you think gratitude, your brain produces a coherent, rhythmic one. What most people don't know is this: the brain can be trained to fire in new patterns, but only when you repeat the signals you want. This is why the mind feels stuck. Old thoughts have carved electrical grooves in your neural landscape. Each repeated thought deepens the groove. Each new conscious thought builds a new path. You are not thinking. You are wiring, but electricity alone is not enough. To create a reality, you need something more powerful, something deeper. You need the magnet. 2. Emotions equal magnetic field. The heart has its own intelligence. An electrical center powerful enough to generate a magnetic field measurable several feet around the body. When you feel an emotion, you broadcast a frequency. Fear shrinks your field. Anger distorts it. Worry scatters it. Gratitude expands it. Love synchronizes it. Your emotional field tells the universe, this is what I'm prepared to receive. This is why wanting something while feeling unworthy of it never works. Your electrical system, thought, and magnetic field, emotion, disagree. The broadcast contradicts itself. The rare manuscript describes this mismatch as energetic static, ESUM. It means your signal is incoherent, and incoherence cannot create. But when your thoughts and emotions match, when the electrical charge and magnetic field move in the same direction, your energy becomes coherent, and coherent energy is creative. It's not mystical, it's physics. Electricity plus magnetism equals electromagnetism, and electromagnetism shapes matter. Your inner field shapes your outer world. 3. Reality equal projection of your biofield. Imagine holding a tuning fork in your hand. Strike it, and it vibrates at a specific note. Bring it near another tuning fork of the same frequency, and the second one begins vibrating too, without ever being touched. Your body works the same way. Your electromagnetic field vibrates at the frequency of your dominant thoughts and emotions, and your environment responds. People, events, opportunities, they're not random. They synchronize to your broadcast. This is why some people attract conflict everywhere they go. Their field is tuned to defensiveness. This is why some people attract chaos. Their field is wired for urgency. This is why others move through life smoothly. Their field radiates coherence, so life arranges itself to match. The manuscript states, reality is the echo of your biofield, not your wishes, not your intentions, not your goals, your field. Change the field, and the reality that reflects it must change. This is why meditation works, why breathwork works, why silence calms, why gratitude transforms. All of them do one thing. They bring your electrical and magnetic systems back into harmony. And harmony is the foundation of transformation. 4. How to feel your electrical self. You don't have to imagine energy to experience it. You only have to notice it. Close your eyes for a moment. Bring your attention to the space between your temples. There's a faint buzzing, a subtle electricity pulsing in the brain. That's your electrical self. Now shift your attention to your chest. Feel the warmth, the pressure, the expansion. That is your magnetic self, the field that shapes your experience. Between these two centers, your entire life is created. The thoughts you fire and the emotions you hold determine the signal you broadcast. The manuscript says it clearly. The world responds not to your words, but to the voltage behind them. Not to your desires, but to your resonance. This is why the most powerful manifestors are not the ones who try the hardest. They are the ones who feel the clearest. They don't force energy. They generate coherence. And the world bends around coherence. 5. The practice of electrical alignment. Let's make the electrical self practical, something you can feel right now. Sit still. Place one hand lightly on your chest. Place the other over your forehead. Inhale slowly through your nose. Exhale gently through your mouth. Now, notice the two centers, the brain and the heart, the electrical and the magnetic, the charge and the field. As you breathe, imagine your breath connecting the two, not forcing, just linking. A soft current, a gentle bridge. After a few breaths, you'll feel something shift. A warmth, a calm, a subtle pressure, a quiet coherence. That's the beginning. That's the signal strengthening. That's your field synchronizing. The more you practice this, the more your electrical self begins to harmonize. And harmony is the doorway, because once your inner circuitry stabilizes, your outer reality has no choice but to follow. Silence is not absence. Silence is intelligence, a living field your mind forgot how to enter. Modern life has turned noise into a habit. People wake up to noise, work in noise, fall asleep with noise in their heads. Thoughts run without pause. Screens never dim. Emotions spill into the nervous system faster than the body can digest them. And slowly, quietly, the inner world becomes overwhelmed. But the rare manuscript reveals something extraordinary. Your brain was designed for rhythm, not constant stimulation. Periods of activity, followed by intervals of stillness. This is the natural cycle of the nervous system. When stillness disappears, coherence disappears. When coherence disappears, your energy becomes chaotic. And when energy becomes chaotic, your reality follows. So, silence is not luxury. Silence is maintenance. Let's enter its science. 1. Default mode network, where the mind repairs itself. Deep inside the brain lies a system called the default mode network, the part of your mind that organizes memories, processes, emotions, and turns experience into wisdom. It only activates when you stop consuming the world, when you close your eyes, when you pause, when you stop trying to solve something, fix something, chase something. In silence, the brain begins to clean itself. Electrical storms calm, neural chaos settles, thoughts stop fighting for attention. Old emotional imprints rise to the surface, and the nervous system finally exhales. This is why silence brings clarity, not because silence adds anything, but because it removes everything that was distorting your signal. Silence is the mind's maintenance mode. It is where coherence is restored. 2. Alpha waves, the gateway to rewiring. Most people live stuck in high beta brainwave states. The frequency of urgency, overthinking, fight or flight. In this state, you cannot heal. You cannot rewire. You cannot create clearly. Your brain is too loud to listen. But when you enter silence, your brain waves begin to slow from frantic beta to calm, flowing alpha. Alpha waves are the frequency of focus, memory integration, visualization, intuition, and deep learning. The manuscript calls alpha the doorway between the conscious mind and the electrical self. Why? Because in alpha, your nervous system becomes impressionable. Your thoughts leave deeper physiological imprints. Your emotions become easier to transform. Your body begins to trust you again. You cannot rewire a stressed mind. You rewire a quiet one. 3. The 1-minute reset ritual. Silence doesn't require a retreat, a monastery, or 10 hours of meditation. It requires 1 minute, a doorway you carry wherever you go. This is the reset ritual described in the old text. Step 1. Pause. Wherever you are, in the kitchen, at your desk, in the car, close your eyes gently. Let the world fall back a little. Step 2. Breathe slowly through the nose for 4 counts. Not forced, just slow enough for the mind to follow the breath. Step 3. Hold for 2 counts. This brief stillness shifts the nervous system out of survival mode. Step 4. Exhale through the mouth for 6 counts. Imagine releasing static electricity from your mind. Feel the tension melting from behind your eyes. Let your shoulders drop. Step 5. Become aware of the space around you. Silence is not inside your head. It is in the field around your body. Feel it. Sense its presence. After 60 seconds, your brain waves have already shifted. Your nervous system has already down-regulated. Your energy has already begun to reorganize. This ritual is not a break. It is recalibration. It reminds the electrical self how to center. It teaches the body the shape of safety again. 4. Why silence heals the biofield. Your energy field, the electromagnetic signature created by the heart and brain, becomes distorted when noise dominates your life. That distortion feels like irritability, confusion, fatigue, emotional heaviness, lack of clarity. But whenever you enter silence, something profound happens. Your field begins to reorder itself. The heart slows, the brain synchronizes, your breath deepens, your perception widens. You return to coherence, the natural rhythm of your system, before stress interfered. In coherence, thoughts stop colliding, emotions stop looping, the nervous system stops guessing, the body stops defending. Silence resets the entire electrical blueprint of your being. 5. Silence is not emptiness, it is return. Many people avoid silence because they fear what they'll hear inside it. But silence is not the absence of life. It is the presence of yourself. You meet the parts of you that never get a chance to speak because the world is too loud. Your intuition, your memory, your clarity, your truth. Silence reveals what noise hides. It shows you where your energy is leaking, which emotions you've been suppressing, which patterns are ready to dissolve. And once you sit in silence long enough, you'll realize something powerful. Silence doesn't disconnect you from the world. It reconnects you to your power within it. The manuscript names silence the womb of transformation, because every new identity begins in stillness, not in force, not in struggle, not in chaos, in quiet. With silence understood, your system is ready for the next shift, a deeper reconstruction that moves from thought to emotion to the body itself. Because the nervous system does not just remember what you think, it remembers what you feel. And if your body has been carrying emotional residue for years, rewiring cannot be complete until the body learns to release. Your body remembers everything your mind tries to forget. Not the story, but the sensation. Not the event, but the chemistry it produced. Emotion does not live in the mind. Emotion lives in the body, in your chest, your breath, your pulse, your muscles, your gut, your skin. Every fear you never faced, every sadness you swallowed, every anger you suppressed, every disappointment you tried to move on from, your body stored it. The manuscript calls this the emotional archive, not a place of memory, but a place of repetition. Because once the body stores an emotion, it begins to replay it automatically, even when the situation has long passed. This is why a single comment can trigger an old wound, why a new relationship can awaken an old fear, why success can still feel unsafe, why calm feels foreign. Even when nothing is wrong, your body is responding to the past, not the present. Until the past is released, rewiring can't complete. So this chapter is not about understanding emotions. It's about liberating them. Let's begin. 1. The body holds emotions. Imagine pouring dye into water. Even when the dye dissolves, the color stays. Emotion works the same way. A moment of fear can leave a tightness in the chest that lasts for years. A moment of shame can live in the throat like a stone. A moment of anger can settle in the jaw, the shoulders, the hands. A moment of grief can weigh down the ribs and slow the breath. Your body has been carrying these echoes because you were never taught how to let emotions complete themselves. You were taught to distract, to stay strong, to move on. But emotions don't disappear. They wait. They wait for your awareness so they can finally leave. 2. Observation ritual. The doorway to release. The manuscript teaches a radical truth. You do not heal emotion by fighting it. You heal emotion by feeling it consciously. Feeling is not drowning. Feeling is observing. Awareness is the solvent. Let's step into the ritual. I will guide you slowly. Close your eyes. Settle into your breath. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw loosen. Let your hands rest gently. Now bring to mind a feeling that has been heavy lately. It might be subtle. It might be loud. It might be old. Don't name its story. Just sense its presence. Maybe it sits as a tightness in your throat. Maybe it lives as a pressure in your chest. Maybe it exists as a heaviness in your stomach. Maybe it appears as a buzzing, a heat, a tremble. Wherever it is, place your attention there, as if you are shining a warm light onto it. Do not judge it. Do not analyze it. Do not resist it. Simply observe. You will notice something remarkable. When you stop resisting a feeling, the feeling stops gripping you. Your breath deepens. Your mind softens. Your body loosens its armor. The emotion begins to move, like a bubble rising to the surface. This is emotional release in its purest form. The body letting go, because you finally let it speak. 3. Release and integration. Teaching the body a new reality. As you continue observing the sensation, a shift will happen. Sometimes it softens. Sometimes it grows stronger before dissolving. Sometimes it changes shape. Sometimes it moves to another part of the body. All of these are signs of release. Emotion is energy in motion. It wants to complete its cycle. The manuscript describes the body as a student waiting for instructions. For years, you have taught it tension through repeated reactions, fear, self-judgment, overthinking, suppression. Now, through conscious attention, you teach it something new: safety. When the body feels safe, it integrates emotion instead of storing it. It digests it instead of repeating it. Here is how the integration unfolds naturally. Your breath deepens. This signals to the nervous system that danger is gone. Your muscles release. This signals to the emotional centers that survival mode is no longer needed. Your heart softens. This signals to the biofield that coherence is returning. Piece by piece, your body updates its baseline. What once felt normal, tightness, panic, overthinking, emotional heaviness, begins to feel foreign. What once felt foreign, peace, clarity, spaciousness, begins to feel natural. That is rewiring, not sudden, not loud, but subtle, steady, cellular, a new identity taking root in the body first, so the mind can follow. 4. The body follows what you practice. The manuscript says, you cannot think your way into a new life. You must feel your way there. If your body feels unsafe, no amount of positive thinking will rewire you. The body's vote wins every time. But when the body begins to feel safe, even for a moment, it learns something extraordinary. Peace is survivable. Stillness is survivable. Joy is survivable. Love is survivable. And once the body realizes this, it begins seeking these states instead of running from them. This is why emotional rewiring is powerful. You are teaching your body what kind of life it is allowed to inhabit. The more you practice observing emotion without becoming it, the faster your nervous system updates. The old patterns dissolve. The old chemistry fades. The old emotional identity loses its hold. And slowly, you begin to move through life, not as a reaction to your past, but as a response to your present. This is the beginning of true transformation. With the emotional body rewired, you are ready for the next phase, the phase that builds permanence, because transformation doesn't last unless repetition supports it. Transformation never arrives all at once. It does not crash into your life like a storm. It grows like dawn, quietly, subtly, almost invisibly, until one morning you realize the darkness has been gone for a while. This is the nature of micro-rewiring. The smallest actions, the softest shifts, the gentlest repetitions are the ones that rebuild the brain in ways the mind cannot see at first. The manuscript teaches a simple truth. Identity is shaped not by intensity, but by consistency. What you repeat becomes familiar. What becomes familiar becomes safe. And what becomes safe becomes your new self. Tonight, we step into the architecture of that process. 1. Micro-habits, the seeds of a new mind. People chase massive transformations, new routines, new lifestyles, new mindsets, believing change must be dramatic to matter. But the brain doesn't change through pressure. It changes through evidence. A single conscious breath is evidence. A moment of gratitude is evidence. Closing your eyes for 20 seconds instead of reacting is evidence. These micro moments tell your nervous system, we are choosing a different life now. You may think they are too small to matter, but to the brain, they are enormous. Because each small action is a vote for your future self. Every inhale that softens your chest tells your emotional body that peace is possible. Every pause before reacting tells your survival system that danger is not present. Every evening reflection tells your subconscious that awareness is becoming your new baseline. Micro habits are not minor. They are microscopic revolutions, new signals, new chemistry, new wiring, happening quietly beneath your awareness. You do not see the seed break the soil, but it does. And when it does, everything changes. 2. Gentle repetition sneaking past the subconscious guard. The subconscious mind resists sudden overhaul. It protects what is familiar even if it hurts. That is why dramatic changes often fail. But gentle repetition slips past this inner guard. A slow breath repeated daily teaches the vagus nerve to relax on command. A consistent moment of silence teaches your brain that stillness is safe. A nightly ritual of gratitude teaches the emotional body to memorize expansion instead of contraction. The manuscript calls this the whisper method, because whispers change you in ways shouting never can. Repetition does not need intensity. It needs consistency. Imagine a drop of water falling on stone. One drop changes nothing, but thousands of drops, soft, gentle, persistent, carve a new shape. Your habits do the same to the mind. You are not forcing change. You are carving it. You are shaping a new identity with rhythms that are too quiet for resistance to notice. One breath, one pause, one moment of presence, repeated until the new pattern becomes the dominant one. 3. The nervous system's new baseline, rebuilding the foundation. As micro-habits accumulate, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your nervous system recalibrates. Your old baseline, reactive, tense, vigilant, dissolves. Your new baseline, calm, coherent, receptive, emerges. This shift is not dramatic. It is subtle. It hums beneath your awareness, like a soft signal. You will notice it in small moments. A thought that once triggered fear now passes through you like a cloud. A situation that once overwhelmed you now feels manageable. A conversation that once tightened your chest now leaves you untouched. This is not luck. This is rewiring. The nervous system learns through familiarity. The more often you experience calm, even for 10 seconds, the more your body begins to prefer it. Calm becomes normal. Coherence becomes comfortable. Presence becomes familiar. You stop reaching for survival mode because your body realizes it no longer needs it. This is the quiet miracle of micro-rewiring. Small actions create permanent changes in your baseline state. You no longer fight to be peaceful. You simply are. You no longer struggle to stay present. Your body naturally chooses presence. You no longer chase alignment. You live from it. The old identity fades, not because you forced it away, but because the new one grew stronger than the past. A new self built softly. Rewiring is not an event. It is a rhythm, a gentle daily song, sung by your breath, your awareness, your choices. Tiny habits, small pauses, soft alignments, stacking silently until they reshape you from within. You are building a new identity, not through willpower, but through resonance. Your body listens, your brain follows, your energy reorganizes, and slowly you begin to inhabit a different version of yourself. Calmer, clearer, deeper, aligned not with memory, but with intention. This is the power of micro-rewiring. This is how small becomes sacred. This is how the new you takes form, one gentle moment at a time. There is a moment in every inner transformation when you realize that the mind alone is not enough. You can think positive thoughts, repeat affirmations, set intentions, and still feel misaligned inside. Because coherence, true coherence, does not happen in the mind. It happens in the meeting point between the brain, the heart, and the emotional body. The manuscript calls this moment the inner unification, a state where your thoughts, your feelings, and your nervous system are finally speaking the same language. Let's step into that space together. 1. Heart-brain synchronization, the rhythm of inner alignment. Your brain thinks, your heart feels, your body responds. But when these three operate separately, your energy scatters. You feel conflicted, divided, split. You think of peace while feeling tension. You try to stay calm while your heart beats fast. You set goals, but your body carries the chemistry of fear. This internal dissonance drains more energy than any workload ever could. Coherence begins the moment your heart and brain fall into rhythm, not metaphorically, biologically. When you breathe slowly, when you feel a genuine emotion like gratitude or compassion, the heart sends smooth, ordered signals to the brain. The brain responds by releasing chemicals of clarity instead of stress. Neural chaos quiets. The mind becomes spacious. Your perception widens. This is heart-brain synchronization, your two most powerful electrical centers, falling into harmony. It's not magic, it's physics. And when they synchronize, something profound happens. Your energy expands. 2. How coherence unlocks energy, the hidden reservoir inside you. Most people feel tired not because life is hard, but because their internal energy is fragmented. When thoughts contradict feelings, when the heart pulls one way, while the mind pushes another, you leak energy. The body burns fuel, trying to reconcile the mismatch. The manuscript describes incoherence as living with the accelerator and the brake pressed at the same time. No wonder burnout is common. No wonder anxiety spreads. No wonder clarity feels so rare. But coherence, true emotional coherence, is the opposite. When the heart and brain synchronize, your body shifts into a state called parasympathetic dominance, the healing zone, the restoration mode, the state where energy returns instead of drains. Your breath deepens, your heart rate stabilizes, your nervous system stops fighting itself. Your cells shift from survival to regeneration. Coherence is power, not softness. It is the moment your whole system stops surviving and starts creating. You've felt glimpses of this before. Moments where time slowed, where clarity arrived effortlessly, where something inside you whispered, "It feels right." Those moments were coherence. Tonight, we learn how to create it intentionally. 3. Transforming your field. Becoming a source of order. When your inner world becomes coherent, your outer world begins to respond. This is not philosophy. It is resonance. Every cell in your body emits a field, a measurable electromagnetic signature. When you are stressed, that field becomes jagged, chaotic, unstable. People feel it. Animals feel it. Rooms feel it. When you are coherent, your field becomes smooth, ordered, expansive. People soften around you. Conversations become easier. Opportunities feel like they are drawn to you. Because coherence is attractive. Chaos repels. Order invites. The manuscript calls coherent energy the tuning fork effect. When your inner field stabilizes, the external world adjusts to match it. This is why some people walk into a room and instantly bring peace, why others walk into chaos, and the chaos calms down. They are transmitting coherence. And now you will learn how to do the same. The coherence ritual. Sit comfortably. Let your shoulders loosen. Rest your hands softly. Close your eyes. Bring your awareness from the mind down into the space of your chest. Not your thoughts, your heart. Place your hand there gently, as if comforting someone you love. Now breathe. Slowly, in through the nose, hold, and out through the mouth. Let each breath become softer until it feels effortless. Now recall one emotion that feels warm, true, safe, not forced, not dramatic. Something simple, gratitude for someone you love, peace from a moment of silence, relief from a long exhale, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, a memory that softens you. Feel that emotion, not in your mind, but in your chest. Let it expand, like a slow-growing light. Let it fill the ribs, the throat, the belly, the space around your body. As you breathe, the heart begins sending coherent signals to the brain. The brain adjusts. Your chemistry shifts. Your energy reorganizes. You are transforming your field in real time. Stay here for a few more breaths. Slow, soft, steady. This is coherence. This is the alignment your nervous system has been longing for. A new inner rhythm. As you open your eyes, notice the subtle shift in your body. The calm behind the chest, the clarity behind the eyes, the quiet power beneath the stillness. This is not temporary. This is training. The more often you return to coherence, the more your inner rhythm stabilizes. You begin to think differently, feel differently, move differently. Life responds differently. Because coherence doesn't just change how you feel, it changes who you are becoming. This chapter is the bridge between emotional healing and energetic awakening. And now that your inner world is united, you are ready for the next phase, becoming energy. There comes a moment on every inner journey when you begin to sense something you cannot explain with logic. A quiet shift, a widening, a presence. It feels like the borders of your body soften, as if you are not inside your skin, but surrounding it, as if your awareness is larger than the physical form it animates. This is the beginning of understanding your true nature. You are not the body. You are the awareness that perceives the body. You are not the mind. You are the field in which the mind appears. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean, briefly taking the shape of a drop. Tonight, you will remember this. 1. Awareness as the true identity. Everything you've ever experienced has appeared inside your awareness. Thoughts, sensations, emotions, memories, dreams. But you, the one who is aware, have remained unchanged. Your thoughts change. Your emotions change. Your body changes cell by cell every day. But awareness, the silent witness behind it all, does not age, does not break, does not panic, does not fear. It simply observes. This awareness is your true identity. Before you had a name, before you learned a language, before you had beliefs, wounds, or stories, this awareness was already present. Everything you call me is an experience happening inside something much larger. The manuscript calls awareness the space that holds the self. It is like the sky. Thoughts are clouds. Emotions are weather. The body is the landscape, but you are the sky, the vast open presence in which all of it unfolds. And the more you rest in this awareness, the more your energy expands. Why? Because awareness is pure coherence, pure clarity, pure order. It is the highest frequency of all. 2. The quantum field where your energy lives. Science has discovered something extraordinary. Your heart produces an electromagnetic field that extends several feet around your body. Your brain emits waves that change with your emotional state. Your cells communicate through light. Your thoughts send measurable pulses. Your feelings magnetize your field. This means one thing. You are not just living in energy. You are projecting it. Everything you see, every person you meet, every moment you experience is filtered through the field you radiate. This field is not inside your body. Your body is inside the field. The manuscript calls this the luminous architecture, a living, responsive, intelligent field that surrounds you and is shaped by your inner state. When you are incoherent, stressed, afraid, reactive, the field becomes jagged, fragmented, weak. When you are coherent, aligned, peaceful, clear, the field becomes strong, smooth, magnetic. This is why people can sense when someone is calm before they speak. This is why intuition sharpens when you are relaxed. This is why synchronicities appear when your inner state aligns with what you want. Your field communicates with the quantum world long before your words do. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you radiate. And what you radiate is determined by your state of awareness. 3. Energy tuning practice, remembering your true nature. Now we practice becoming energy itself. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Let your breath settle. Shift your awareness from your thoughts into the space around your body. Yes, the space, not the skin, not the muscles, the empty air surrounding you. Except it isn't empty. It is vibrating. It is listening. It is responding. This is the field. Now, Imagine your awareness expanding like a gentle sphere. First, feel it 1 inch beyond your skin, then a few inches, then a foot, then the entire room. You are not imagining this. You are remembering. Stay with the sensations, the tingling at the edges of your body, the subtle warmth expanding outward, the quiet hum of presence. This expansion is your natural state. When you stop contracting into the mind, now bring to mind an emotion that elevates you. Gratitude, love, peace, a simple joy, a soft relief. Let it fill your chest. Let it radiate upward to the brain. Let it expand outward into the field. You are synchronizing the electrical center with the magnetic center. You are charging your field with coherence. Now imagine a future moment you desire deeply, not as a wish, not as a hope, but as a memory that has already happened. See it, feel it. Let your field absorb it, because the field responds not to thought alone, but to the emotional frequency behind the thought. What you feel now is the signature of the reality you are calling in. Stay in this state a few moments longer. This is who you are. When you stop shrinking into the mind, pure awareness, pure energy, pure creation, a return to your origin. As you open your eyes, notice how different the room feels. Not because the room changed, but because you did. You widened, you softened, you expanded beyond the body, back into the truth of your being. This chapter marks a threshold. You are no longer rewiring the mind. You are becoming the field in which the mind itself arises. And from this field, a new identity begins to form. An identity not based on the past, but on presence. There comes a moment on this journey when something subtle but unmistakable begins to happen. The old version of you, the one built from reflexes, wounds, and repetition, starts to loosen its grip, not dramatically, not like a breakthrough, more like a quiet dissolving, a soft melting at the edges of your identity. Thoughts you used to believe without question now feel distant. Emotions that once controlled you now move through you like passing waves. The stories you once told yourself begin to lose their authority. It feels as if an older self is slowly fading out, while a new one quietly emerges from the background. The manuscript calls this process the gentle death of the inherited self. In this chapter, you will understand how this dissolution happens, how new neural circuits form, and how a new identity becomes embodied, not as an idea, but as a lived frequency. Let us walk slowly into this transformation. 1. Dissolving the old self. When identity stops being a cage, the old self is not a person. It is a pattern of thoughts you repeated for years, a pattern of emotions your body memorized, a pattern of expectations shaped by your past, a pattern of reactions you practiced so often they became your personality. The old self is familiar, predictable, comfortable, even when it hurts. That is why people cling to it, not because it is true, but because it is known. But once awareness expands, once coherence stabilizes, once the emotional body softens, the old self begins to unravel. You notice the shift in small moments. A thought of doubt arises, and you no longer believe it. A memory tries to trigger fear, and your body stays calm. A familiar insecurity whispers, and you feel spacious instead of tight. This is not resistance. This is transcendence. The old survival patterns lose voltage. The emotional chemistry that once sustained them no longer circulates. Your nervous system has stopped feeding the identity built from past pain. Piece by piece, the old circuitry dissolves. You become lighter, quieter, more present, more you. 2. Building new circuits, the architecture of the new you. As the old neural pathways weaken, new ones begin to take shape, not through force, not through discipline, through repetition, through coherence, through awareness. Your brain is always listening. Every breath of calm is a signal. Every pause before reacting is a signal. Every moment of gratitude is a signal. Every expansion into the quantum field is a signal. These signals are instructions. Build this, strengthen this, keep this. The brain responds by wiring new circuits. Circuits for clarity, circuits for emotional stability, circuits for presence, circuits for higher perception. Think of your brain as a landscape. Old paths become overgrown. New paths become clear. At first, they are faint trails, barely visible. A gentle thought of, I am enough. A moment of trust instead of fear. A subtle sense of inner safety. But as you repeat them, these trails become roads, then highways, then the main routes your mind travels automatically. This is the moment neuroplasticity becomes identity. Your brain no longer defaults to stress, because stress is no longer familiar. Your body no longer anticipates danger, because danger is no longer your chemistry. Your mind no longer rehearses the past, because the past has lost its authority over your field. The new neural identity is forming itself. Each time you choose consciousness over autopilot. 3. Embodiment. When the new identity becomes your nature, you can think differently and still behave like the old self. You can feel inspired and still fall back into familiar habits. True transformation happens when the new wiring becomes embodied. Embodiment is when your nervous system begins acting from coherence without effort. It is when the breath deepens naturally, when the heart stays open longer, when your reactions soften automatically, when calm is your baseline and clarity is your default. It is when your body chooses the new identity without needing reminders. This embodiment happens gradually through thousands of tiny choices that accumulate into a new state of being. You will feel it in specific ways. Your emotional reactions shorten side. What once triggered you for hours now dissolves in minutes or never arrives at all. Your inner voice becomes kinder. The old tone of self-judgment is replaced by compassion and neutrality. Your presence expands. People feel more at ease around you. You listen differently. You speak more slowly. You feel grounded even when others are not. Your intuition sharpens. Decisions come with less friction. You trust your inner signals more easily. Synchronicities appear more frequently. Your body relaxes into life. You stop bracing for impact. You begin to receive life instead of defend against it. This is embodiment, not a performance, but a resonance. The new self is no longer an idea. It is a frequency you inhabit. The moment you know you've changed, there will come a moment, unexpected, ordinary, when you catch yourself responding in a way the old you never could. Instead of tension, you feel spaciousness. Instead of fear, you feel curiosity. Instead of rushing, you feel grounded stillness. Instead of doubt, you feel a confident quiet, and you will realize, I am no longer who I was. Not because you forced change, but because your inner architecture has been rebuilt. Your brain is wired differently. Your heart beats differently. Your emotional body processes life differently. Your field vibrates differently. You are not becoming a new self. You are remembering the self you were always meant to be, before conditioning, before survival mode, before the noise of the world pulled you away from your own truth. This new neural identity is not something you maintain through effort. It is something you embody through coherence. When mind, body, heart, and field synchronize, identity becomes effortless. You begin to move through the world, not as a reaction, but as a transmission, a tuning fork of clarity, of presence, of inner intelligence. This is the self your future has been waiting for. There comes a point, after the mind has softened, after the emotions have been freed, after the nervous system has recalibrated, after the old identity has dissolved, when reality itself begins to behave differently around you, not through magic, not through superstition, but through resonance. Your inner frequency rises, and the external world begins to rearrange itself to meet you where you now are. You begin living not in your reality, but with it, as if the world and your energy are having a silent conversation. This is the doorway to the rewired reality. 1. Living from coherence. Life stops feeling like a battle. When you live from coherence, your nervous system stops oscillating between survival and collapse. It settles into a steady, expansive rhythm. This inner order becomes your compass. You no longer chase outcomes. You no longer push against life. You no longer force things into place or grip desperately at what isn't aligned. Instead, you begin moving through the world with a calm clarity that feels almost effortless. Your decisions become simpler, not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. When the mind is coherent, you don't overthink. You see, you sense, you know. When the heart is coherent, you don't cling. You trust. You allow. You open. When the body is coherent, you don't resist. You regulate. You adapt. You flow. You are no longer a collection of conflicting signals. You have become one unified frequency. And coherence, true coherence, is the most efficient state a human can live in. It restores energy, reduces effort, and amplifies clarity. Life stops being something you manage. It becomes something you move in harmony with. 2. Life responds differently. The shift in the external world. When your energy reorganizes, the world cannot help but respond to it. People treat you differently. Conversations become easier. Opportunities appear without force. Synchronicities multiply. Paths open. Solutions arise quietly, instead of after struggle. Nothing magical happened. Your frequency changed, and reality shifted to match it. You've felt this before. In brief moments, walking into a room with a calm presence and noticing others' ease around you, making a decision from clarity, and watching everything align effortlessly, feeling gratitude, and suddenly meeting the right person at the right time. This is not coincidence. This is coherence interacting with reality. The manuscript describes this as the external reorganizing around the internal. When you are scattered, life feels chaotic. When you are fearful, life feels threatening. When you are doubtful, life feels uncertain. But when you stabilize coherence, life becomes responsive, communicative, almost intelligent. Opportunities don't feel random. They feel timely. People don't feel complicated. They feel readable. Challenges don't feel threatening. They feel navigable. You begin to see the world not as a series of obstacles, but as a field of interaction, a living system dancing with your internal state. 3. New reality becomes natural, a life that fits your frequency. At first, this new reality feels unusual, almost too easy, too synchronistic, too aligned. But soon, it becomes normal. Your new identity, wired through coherence, begins to attract experiences that match its vibration. The old patterns stop finding you. The old emotional triggers stop activating. The old timelines stop calling your name. Your relationships shift, sometimes gently, sometimes suddenly. People who resonate with your old frequency begin to fade out. People who match your new one begin to appear, not by force, but by resonance. Your habits shift. Your priorities shift. Your sense of self shifts. Not because you're trying to be your best self, but because your system no longer tolerates anything that pulls you out of coherence. The more you embody this new frequency, the more natural it feels. You wake with clarity instead of dread. You breathe with ease instead of urgency. You move with intention instead of reaction. And maybe the most surprising shift of all, you stop searching. You stop grasping. You stop trying to control life, because you finally realize you are co-creating with it. Life no longer feels like something happening to you. It feels like something responding from you. Your inner state becomes your guiding intelligence. Your energy becomes your language. Your presence becomes your power. This is the rewired reality, a life shaped from the inside out. The world mirrors who you are now. There will come a moment when you catch yourself moving through a situation that would have overwhelmed the old you. But you're calm, clear, grounded, present, and you'll realize, my reality has changed because I have changed. This is the final stage of transformation, not forcing a new life, but radiating the frequency that naturally creates it. You've rewired the mind. You've rewired the emotions. You've rewired the nervous system. You've rewired your field. And now, reality itself rewires around you, not suddenly, not dramatically, but undeniably. This is the moment you stop trying to become the highest version of yourself and simply begin to live as it. Your presence shifts rooms. Your energy changes dynamics. Your clarity shapes outcomes. Your coherence stabilizes situations. You become the tuning fork that the world harmonizes with. This is the rewired reality, the life that matches the frequency of your fully connected mind, your soft, open heart, your steady nervous system, your luminous field. And from here, everything that unfolds feels less like coincidence and more like communication, because the universe is no longer outside you. It is mirrored in you. As you reach this final moment of the journey, notice how different the space inside you feels. The mind is quieter, the breath is deeper, the body is softer, and somewhere beneath all of that, a new awareness is awake. You didn't force this transformation. You simply allowed it. You listened. You breathed. You felt. You noticed. And that was enough. Because rewiring was never something you had to achieve. It was something already waiting inside you. A natural intelligence, a deeper rhythm, a truth older than your thoughts, and gentler than your fears. As you move back into your life, remember this: nothing outside you needs to change for your reality to change. The shift has already begun. In your breath, in your nervous system, in the quiet coherence now humming within you. Take this with you into the small moments. The pause before you react, the breath before you speak, the sensation in your chest before a thought takes shape. These are the places where your new identity lives. And if this journey opened something in you, even just a small spark, let it grow. Let it guide you gently into the person you are becoming. Before we close, take one last slow inhale. Hold and exhale softly, as if releasing the last layer of who you no longer need to be. You are stepping into your rewired reality now, a reality shaped not by your past, but by your presence. If this awakened something in you, continue your transformation journey with our next sleep learning audiobook. Your evolution doesn't need pressure. It only needs awareness. And you already have that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for growing. And above all, thank you for returning to yourself.